Boys and girls, just like I promised this week, I promised you would sit down and I would interview Stephen Willis, and he's going to answer a lot of our questions that we had about being in the Army. And as we lead up to Veterans Day and thinking about those who have served and who are serving, this is just going to be a chance to learn and appreciate those that serve for us. So, all right, you got to tell them how we know each other, Stephen.
I am your son-in-law. Is that what you told him? I think you said so. Okay, yeah.
I did. I told him that whenever he becomes part of this family, he is officially a teacher's kid, and he will be used in many ways. And so this is just the first of many times that I'll be bringing you into my classroom over the next few years.
Sounds good to me.
So I got a few questions that the children wrote down that they're curious about. Okay. And so first off, I wanted to start off. I wanted to know, how long have you been in the Army?
I've been in the Army for 4 years and 6 months.
And how old are you, Stephen?
I am 23 years old.
23 years old. So did you go in right out of high school?
A month and a day after I graduated high school.
Okay. And are you currently active in the Army?
I'm currently not active now, but I'm in the Army Reserve now.
And how's that different from when you were there every day?
I show up one weekend out the month, and then when the summer comes around, I serve for 2 straight weeks.
Okay, so that's going to start soon. So when will you have your first month?
January.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, so when you're in the Army, you have a rank, right? What is your rank?
Rank is Specialist E4.
And what does that mean?
So in the Army, when you're enlisted, that means you come in without a college education. You're always one of 9 ranks. It goes from E1 to E9.
Okay.
And I made it to E4 when I got done with my active duty time.
Now, now that you're in the reserves, will you continue to gain rank being in the reserves?
Yeah, when I report in January, I'm going to go to school to make sergeant.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm going to go to drill sergeant school. So, working my way up.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, very good. So, my next question were, what are your long-term plans?
Long-term plans, be a drill sergeant, be successful, get some awards doing that, and get promoted at the job I currently work at now. I get to do both. I get to live a normal life and a military life, so I just want to see where God takes me in both of them.
Wonderful. We're going to get into what you're doing now here in just a few minutes. Okay. So I had the boys and girls write out some questions, and Caden and Soraya both wanted to know, what is your actual job in the Army? Because I told them that once you're in the Army, you don't just fight, you're assigned a job. So tell us about what you did.
Yeah, so I'm something called Allied Trade Specialist. The Army code for it is 91 Echo. I'm a metal fabricator. So same thing I do outside the Army. I weld and I bend metal, burn it, shape it to make whatever people want me to make.
When you were in the Army, what kind of things were you making and welding?
I was doing a lot. I was repairing vehicle frames. I was making tents, tire racks, anything that popped up in their mind to make, I made.
So you actually made the things that the Army needed to use.
They gave me blueprints, and then I tried my best to make whatever they wanted me to make.
Oh, so you have to be able to read blueprints in your job.
Oh, yeah. You got to be able to read blueprints, read measuring tape, rulers.
So that's where our math skills really come in. And boys and girls, even in 2nd grade, they always are wanting to know, like, how am I going to use what I'm learning? So,
addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all that comes into play. If not, you're going to get something that's not your desired result, and you got to start over. You got to scrap it, start over.
Exactly. If it's not the right shape and right size, it's not going to work.
And sometimes if you mess it up, you still got to use exactly what you messed up and start over with it. They don't give you new stuff. They just say, do it again.
Oh, wow.
Make it work.
All right, that's good. So, and now that you're not full-time in the Army, you're still a welder.
It's the same job.
So the Army prepared you for what now your career is.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so we have Zalea and Kinsley, and they just want to know, kind of tell us what it was like being in the Army. Is it cool? Did you enjoy it?
It was. There was good times, there was bad times, but overall I really enjoyed it. I got to travel the world. I've been to Asia, all over Asia. I've been to most every state. I haven't gone to Alaska or Hawaii. I've driven through or gotten to stay in most states in the continental United States, the connected states. So, yeah,
So lots of opportunity to travel.
Yeah, great food. Great food.
We're gonna get to that. That's a question that I wanted to know too. And I was just curious, like when you said the travel's a part that you did really enjoy.
One of the best parts.
But there's always something that you don't like. So what's the part that you're like, that was not my favorite?
I didn't get to see my, I want to say, a year and about 4 months straight. I didn't get to see my family.
Wow.
So that was tough. That was tough. But it, hard things, tough situations make you stronger. So yeah, that and you're told what to do all the time. So if you don't like being told what to do, or you can't take constructive criticism, it's a hard job. But maybe better. So
absolutely. All right. So when you're in the military, you are issued a gun, right?
Yes.
And Carter is curious to know, what kind of gun did you use?
So we use a lot of guns.
Okay.
We use M4s, which is our standard issue. Looks like a lot like an AR-15, like people have. We have machine guns. We call them crew serve weapons. So we have they shoot different calibers. 50 cal, a 50 BMG. It's a bullet about. The round's about this big. Do crazy damage. We have grenade launchers. We have sniper rifles. You name it, we have it.
And you were trained on how to use all those different weapons.
Yep. Yeah, it was fun.
You got a favorite?
The 240.
Which is what?
It's a chain link machine gun. It's you can't carry it. It's so big you can't carry it. And you put it on a truck or you put it on a tripod and it's one of the things you see in the movies.
In the movies,
yeah,
yes, you do.
It's a movie gun.
And the things are flying out.
Yeah, flying out, hot brass. You never want to touch it. It will burn your skin. Yeah.
So Mackenzie, Jackson, and Eitzel, they were curious, where did you sleep?
I slept in a lot of places. I slept in majority of the time. Thankfully, it was in a barracks room, which is like a dorm room for college. But when I was in the field, which is like camping, army camping, I slept in foxhole, which is dirt. Sleeping bags, outside. I've had personal tents. I've had sleeping bags outside of the tent, just out in the open. Slept in trucks, on top of trucks, under trucks, a lot of places.
Is all that for your training, or are you just in circumstances that required you to do that?
So what they tell you is when you're in the field, they say you need to make whatever you have work. So some people, I've done the whole sleep in the grass with nothing on me before, just because I didn't feel like doing anything. But sometimes, they'll let you bring a little bit extra. You can bring like some space heaters, and you set the space heaters and you get under the truck. So the truck just bounces the heat back on you. It's it's whatever you really want. It's whatever. You don't get a bed out in the field, but you can bring stuff to accommodate. So.
Wow. And you mentioned living in the barracks, which you said is kind of like a dorm. Has lots of room. Did you have to share a room with people?
Yeah, I had to share when I was in Korea. When I was in Asia, I had to share a big open space. But when I got back to the States, I had a room. We shared a kitchen, but then we had separate rooms inside that big room. So sometimes there was privacy, sometimes there wasn't.
Did you always live there, or did you live in a house sometimes too?
Nah, it was always a barracks, or outside.
So Parker wants to know, if you're in the Army and you do get shot, how do you get better?
How do you get better? So what they do is they teach your battle buddies, which is your other soldiers, they teach them how to take care of you if something bad happens.
Wow.
So it's not like, what was his name?
Parker.
So Parker, it's not like the video games. You don't just stab yourself with a syringe and you feel better. So sadly, some people lose limbs. Sometimes people lose their lives too. You never know. But you just prepare for the best. You hope for the best outcome, and you stay trained up and ready for whatever happens.
Did you have to take care of each other?
We had to. We learned how to. I learned how to stop big wounds. Put tourniquets on to stop bleeding, and all that. So
wow.
We take care of each other.
That's good. That's important because you're out there and that's all you've got.
All we got is each other.
Haley, Eli, and Maggie. We're just curious if you've ever had to fight in a war. Have you ever?
I have. Thankfully, I have not. I still have some time left. I still owe the Army 4 years in the reserve, so there's no telling what's going to happen.
Right.
When I go to drill sergeant school and I'm training people coming in, I'm going to train people that do have to go off, and hopefully I don't have to myself, but we'll see.
So you mentioned that you've been to Asia, so I had a question: was have you ever been deployed? I didn't know if the boys and girls knew what that term meant when they hear that word, deployed.
Okay, so deployment just means so in the Army you're in a thing called a unit, and every unit is supposed to be ready to deploy anytime. So a deployment is when your unit is sent to a location. That's pretty much what it is. So there's combat deployments, there's peacetime deployments, there's operational deployments, and when I was in Korea, it's called operational deployment. So no combat per se. You never know what's going to happen, but we went there. We got to enjoy ourselves, go out into town and stuff like that. But when it was Monday through Friday, we work hard and we do soldier stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, deployment is just when you have to leave and go somewhere else. That's all it is.
And how long were you there?
I was there for 12 months.
And that's when you were talking about being away from your family for
Yeah,
so long.
that was a long time. I didn't come home at all.
And I talked to the boys and girls about that. We do our Pledge of Allegiance and our Star Spangled Banner each day. And I've tried to express to them that, when you choose to be in the military, you make a lot of sacrifices.
Oh, yeah.
And part of that sacrifice is being away from the people that you love. And like you're saying, being in uncomfortable situations. Like when you're making the best out of situations, sleeping outside. So I want them to understand that. So I have a special friend named Mason, and he's just curious. Can you catch a crab?
I can catch anything.
Okay, there you go, Mason.
if I'm given the tools to do it, I can catch anything.
And that made me wonder, what do you like to do when you're not busy working and doing Army stuff? What's your pastime?
I like to fish. I like to watch baseball, play baseball. That's my favorite sport. Go Braves. Fear the chop. Play video games. I like to do a lot. And work out as well. So, yeah, but mainly baseball and fish. Those are my big things.
All right. We might catch a crab when you're out there fishing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, name it Mason.
Okay,
okay,
I got you, Mason.
All right. So, Amaya was curious, where do you eat when you're in the Army?
Okay, so we have a place called a dining facility.
Okay.
And we have other, just like my job is to be a fabricator, metal fabricator. We have soldiers that their job is to cook. So you go to the building, we get in the big line when it's chow time. And it's a dining facility. We also call it the chow hall. We go there, we get in lines, we get our food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We also have something called MREs.
Tell the boys and girls what those are.
Okay, so those are you get this big brown bag, and basically what it is it's freeze dried food. So it's food that can last a long time. There's people that have MREs that have lasted them years. And what it is stuff that you no matter, it's non-perishables. So it can be a whole meal. It may not be in the shape of that meal. Like for example, you may get pizza, but
is it going to be a liquid?
It'll be
a powder?
It's a powder, and what you do, you add water to it, and it becomes a solid. And sometimes it's nasty. It could be pie, it could be pizza. Sometimes they'll give you beef jerky. They'll give you like canned goods. Sometimes all about stuff that lasts.
And the reason you have this is because
sometimes if you're fighting in a war, you don't have time to go to a dining facility and sit and eat the meal and enjoy it. A lot of times you have to just eat and go.
Right. So you would have that in your backpack, right? And then you just have to mix it with water.
They give you water. They always give you water. They give you one of those. A lot of times you wake up in the morning if you're on one of those Army camping trips, and they give you 3 of them. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then they'll give you, make sure they have a water buffalo, which is a big vehicle that has water in it. So that's enough water to drink and to mix your food with.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds yummy. So now when you're in the dining hall, is the food good?
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good because they put more time into it.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Kaylin and Addie, their question kind of caught me off guard at first. Have you ever fought like an Indian? But I think what they really want to know is, were you trained to fight a certain way? Do you have special fighting skills?
We do. Okay. We have weapon qualifications. So you can't in the Army you can't shoot a weapon. You can't operate a weapon until you have qualified with the weapon. So basically, we have these days called range days, and so they're like, okay, who wants to? Sometimes they just say you have no choice, you have to qualify on this way.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times they'll say, who wants to shoot? Who wants to be qualified in this weapon with this weapon group? And they'll let you shoot 3 weapons, and then you'll qualify with this weapon group. So if you deploy and you have to use that against the enemy, then you can. And also, there's some. I was in the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg, so we're famous for jumping out of planes. So that's
So you jumped out of an airplane?
I haven't jumped out of an
You
airplane.
have not jumped out of an airplane.
I may at some point, but that's what we were famous for, the 82nd Airborne.
Okay.
And so that's one of the many skills that we learn.
Okay.
Jumping out of airplanes, rappelling out of helicopters, you name it.
There's still time.
Yeah. There's still time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To do that.
Yeah, it's still time.
So I have one final question that the students want to ask, and I think it's a good question. This was from Sadie Harris and Miracle. And they wanted to know if you're ever scared. Because I think we have this image of our soldiers being brave and strong and never having fear.
Mm-hmm.
So are you ever scared, or were you ever scared when you were in the Army?
I was scared a lot of times, but what life is about is overcoming your fear. Training yourself to. I just talked to my buddy about this earlier today. I was like, life never stops throwing you curveballs,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to be able to control, let your logic overpower your emotions. That's what they tell us in the military. Don't think with your don't think with your heart, think with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think with your mind instead of your heart, you make better informed decisions that are that you can power through the fear with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm scared about a lot of things in life, but I know that nothing's. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I know God guides me, so I'm not too much worried about it.
That's right.
What comes, I'll handle.
That sounds good. Well, I'm going to wrap up with one final question, because one thing that we do is, even in 2nd grade, we're preparing our boys and girls for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. And so, for those boys and girls that think they might like to be in the military one day, anything that they could do now to kind of get that mindset or to start getting ready? Are there special character traits? I mean, let's just end on that note.
I would say accountability.
Okay, explain to them what that means.
Okay. One example of taking accountability in life could be, wasn't ready for this one. I didn't see this one.
Well, I added this one, but owning up.
Owning up. When you do, for a good example is when you do something wrong, and whether it be in class with Miss Gwen or whatever the case may be, any point in life, it's good to own up to your decisions and accept the repercussions of your actions. Repercussions being the results.
Right.
So you do something, and also accountability of good things as well.
That's right.
Make sure you get you're held accountable for the good things you do as well as the bad things you do.
Exactly.
When you take accountability, and you get used to taking accountability, a lot of things in life become a whole lot easier.
Well, I feel like with this uniform, there are certain expectations. We expect those that are in our military to be honorable.
Yep.
And to be brave. And, to always fight, maybe literally fight,